There's a passage in the Bible that says that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, but I'm from a different school of thought. I believe admitting to the fact that you don't know everything is the beginning of learning. And in the process of learning, you become knowledgeable, and with a lot of knowledge, you become wise. Today, let's ask ourselves a question. What is the secret behind the man of thought and the way he thinks? I don't think I'm anything special from anybody on earth. I think the idea of knowledge sometimes can be gifts in certain areas. But I think there's a thing about life also that whatever we strongly desire and we are dedicated to it, the universe brings it to our step. No matter how far or how long it takes, as long as we are dedicated to what we desire and we truly want it, the universe finds a way to bring it to us. And knowledge itself is not an exception. Before I proceed on talking about many things regarding this issue of the idea of knowledge and wisdom, I would want you to know one thing if you're listening to me carefully, that no one you see on screen is so special, and no man is so wise that they don't have challenges. Every wise, knowledgeable, professor, thinking person, holy, most spiritual person, they all have great difficulties and challenges beyond their ability. And I use the word beyond their ability simply because if you have the whole knowledge in life, you most likely should not have problem. But the reality is that when we as audience or fans look at some people from the screen and they are filled with certain information and knowledge, it is just towards a specific direction, not towards all parts of life. Now, I always define knowledge to be in many areas. There's knowledge for wealth, there's knowledge for marriage, there's knowledge for everything. But at the same time, there is a knowledge for generations to come. There is a knowledge for consciousness. And that is the kind of knowledge I pay attention to. Some people actually are interested in having knowledge that tends to be academical. Some people have knowledge that tends to be biblical. Some people focus on spirituality. But I think that if you focus on the large aspect of not just being spiritual, academical, wealthy, and the rest, you look for a wisdom that ticks towards the direction of generation and consciousness. You most likely would have the one that most people would desire in life. At the end of the day, we all have something that people want from us. And if no one wants anything from you, then people may assume you are useless. So I want to break down some of the secrets to having certain kind of knowledge. Before you say knowledge, wisdom, and the rest of it, you need to be able to understand that there's principle for everything. And that principle is written by the universe itself. There's a law of gravity. And in the law of gravity, it actually works here on Earth. If you're in Mars or you are in Pluto or in certain planets that doesn't have gravity in them, you don't need that principle to be applied. As a human who lives on the surface of this Earth, it is important to note that there are principles that governs this Earth. You may call it God's principle, you may call it the universe principle, and there's a principle that also guides towards biology, towards our growth, towards being born and dying, every single thing. So biologically, if you're on Earth, there's a way your hormones, your immune system, everything about you work. So knowing the principle that governs things is you gathering information on how things actually work. Now, when it comes to the aspect of how I think and how I process things, I think that first of all, the universe works in a certain way. And when we talk about the universe, we can only be so sure about Earth first. That is what we know. That is what has been working for us since the beginning of time. We have never been in Venus. History has always showed us that we are humans and we have been on Earth for a very long period of time, according to the information we have. Now, with that, we know the Earth better than any other planet. And so, for me, gathering knowledge, I think that I pay attention to what are the things that can raise consciousness, because I think not being conscious or not being aware of things is a way that you get addicted, you get traumatized, you get You get blinded by certain information and certain ideology that is going to be pushed down your throat. Consciousness does not lie to you. That is one thing that I believe, that when you are aware of things, awareness does not lie to you. In fact, awareness simply means that you are learning to see things for the way they are. And that is the reason why you knowing that you don't know is the beginning of learning things. Some people say the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And that is actually set for the biblical term for those who tends to be religious in the Christian way. And why did it say that? Because the story of the Bible indicates that God is the most powerful thing. But it wants to let you understand also that because God is powerful and you think that you believe in him and he holds you and you are his children, that doesn't mean you can stay in front of a trailer. A trailer will hit you and God will not do anything about it. And that is simply to tell you that we want you to move in this so way, even though we tell you that there's a powerful entity that guides and protects you. Regardless, there are certain principles that are stronger than the entity in certain realistic parts. And so when you are conscious in life, you can discern for yourself that certain things that are being told to you does not correlate or does not work with you as a person. Individual as human being, we think that we are the same. No, we are not. We are similar in many ways and we are different in little things. And that difference make a lot of, is a very big difference. Because there are certain people in as humans that we can pay money to go hear them sing. We can pay money to hear them, practice, to fight, to do all those kind of things. These are attributes that majority of us don't have, but we gravitate towards seeing that dynamic part of us. So you have to ask yourself, as a human being, apart from we chasing this particular thing, chasing this particular maybe money, maybe gifts, maybe talent, maybe skills in other place, how aware are we of ourselves? And when you pay attention of your own consciousness and your own awareness, then there's a chance that you're going to know things that you probably don't know. And whatever you know would first of all serve you better than it's going to serve other people. And if it's not serving you better, then that means there's a false narrative that you're trying to push or propagate to the world. First of all, for you to be aware, there are certain things that are very important you learn. First, that means one of it is that you need to read. And what does reading do? Reading simply means you look at the life of other people. I think that when you begin to observe others, you can look at yourself, you can see yourself in them. Because I said humans, we are similar in many ways, and we are also different in many ways. Then when you are able to read book, you see the life of other people and you see the way you can narrate your own story with their own story. Now, here is the caveat. If the story of your life, your environment and everything does not suit to the book or the person you are reading about, then you have to ask yourself, how can I navigate my way to get the answer that this particular individual gets? Or does this thing actually work in this particular environment because it can't work in this particular environment? I want you to understand that there is a reality part of it and you have to think things through. And thinking simply means you have to wrestle with a lot of things that you don't want to admit to or you're ignorant of. To be what I am, and I say being a man of thought, what I mean is that I wrestle with thoughts. I wrestle with my ideas. I wrestle with the ideology that is being pushed down to our throats because I believe that if nature creates the blacks and nature creates the white and it creates the Mexicans and it creates the Puerto Ricans and the rest of it, they all cannot work in the same way because in fact nature creates them different. Nature gives them different soil and different plants can actually grow on different soil. So that means that what works for a certain person may not be applicable to me. And for me to be conscious of that, I have removed myself from the struggle or the unnecessary struggle trying to fight to be like the other person, which Africans are still very unconscious, thinking that being a great person simply means you have to be with the white person or the white person is the phenomenon of you becoming a great person. And that is the reason why you see lives like Michael Jackson bleaching his skin, trying to be like the white person, but it cannot be accepted because right down through his DNA, right down through everything that concerns him. The white would look at him differently because we all are not the same, and we can't lie to ourselves that we are the same. It's just like the narration of saying that we are equal. We all are not equal. Yes, it's good for us to say we are equal. We can be given equal opportunity, equal rights to different things, but our abilities are different, and so our outcome is totally going to be different. So consciousness tells you certain things. You have to be aware of reality and false delusion. You have to be able to ask yourself, can I practice? That doesn't stop you from practicing, trying to see how you can implement things. But there are certain things that might be possible in your life in comparing yourself with other people that may not work in your lifetime. When you are aware of that, even while you struggle and you walk your way towards getting to that place, and you know that maybe it is your fourth generation that will be able to achieve it, you would not get bitter, you would not get frustrated because you know that it is not your time. Consciousness tells us that time is everything. Consciousness tells us that we have to open our mind to possibilities, but not thinking that possibility simply means it has to be instant and it has to happen in our time. Now, some mistake that a lot of us believe in is that to become a knowledgeable person, we have to be very intellectual. Yes, to a certain degree, intellect plays a role, but knowledge does not. Maybe I wouldn't call it knowledge. I would say consciousness, or but I call it consciousness. To be conscious, you don't have to pay so much attention to the brain. You have to understand that every aspect of your body has knowledge and has information in them, because knowledge is you gathering information first of all, and your hand has learned a lot of things, so you can use your hand to do certain things that other people can't use their hand to do. And this is not the idea of the brain. Yes, does the brain has certain information that goes to your hand and the rest of it? Yes. But for me, I might be able to put my hand in certain ways, play keyboard in certain ways with my fingers, and you might not be able to do it because your fingers have not gathered that information. Now, you have to be conscious and aware of all your whole body. And you have to ask yourself, why is my body moving this way? Why do I gravitate towards this? Why do I love this? Questions become the biggest challenge for you to be conscious. Questions become the greatest challenge and this is what I mean by that. There is nothing I do that I don't enjoy. I end up asking myself, why am I participating in the things that I don't enjoy? Am I doing it because of social expectation? Am I doing it because of peer pressure? Am I doing it simply because I want to please someone? Or am I doing it because I know at the long run it's going to pay off? And if it's going to pay off at the long run, is it going to be a short-term thing or is it going to be a long-term thing? And when you pave the way for yourself and you say, I want to gravitate towards things that will serve me in the long term, then you become very conscious of the things that you gravitate towards and the things that are going to serve you or that won't serve you at the long run. So I pay attention to those kind of things. And some of it is just like the noise, the hustle, the bustle. What kind of work are you actually doing that you think that maybe this profession that I'm actually going into, it's not going to serve me at the long run? Once you are aware of that, then you can make a decision and say, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe it doesn't serve my purpose. Maybe I'm with someone who, rather than bringing the best out of me, that person will bring the worst out of me. And the worst simply means I'm going to run the rabbit hole of becoming a terrible person and making that person also miserable. Now, there could be things that are between us that we probably enjoy, but you ask ourselves the question that, are these things the long term? Do we mostly have things that help us to grow together, or do we have things that divide us and separate us as people? So you associate yourself with those things. And like I said earlier, meditation, have I said that education is very important? That means what you read and what you study. Then meditation is also important. What is meditation? Being aware. And if you want to be aware of a lot of things, you need to be very conscious of the fact that awareness does not jump to you once. It takes time. To some people, it's going to take them 5 years. For me, I've been in the process for over 7 years and I'm still learning. But I've only gotten to certain areas. And I want to make this very clear that in life, when you want something for yourself and when you desire to have knowledge about certain things, You need to understand that whatever you gravitate towards, it's and you think it's going to be of a benefit for you and your generation and to the public or to a lot of people, because our gift and our and the information we have should be to serve people, to make other people's life great. And when you have those information and you have those knowledge, or you are gravitating towards gathering those information and knowledge, understand the fact that people may not support you. Understanding the fact that everyone would not see eye to eye to the things that you see. And so when you are conscious of that people may not agree with me. It might be your wife, it might be your parent, it might be your sister, it might be your brother, it might be someone who their opinion matters into you in your life, but the person would not still believe in what you believe in or what you're trying to gravitate towards. And I want you to also understand that even while you are in the process of growth and you're chasing that thing, you need to also be so conscious and ask yourself, am I doing what is right? And am I changing my direction simply because people did not accept it? Or am I changing my direction because I think it's not going to serve me at the long run? And all this questioning are the things that mostly play a role in your life as time goes on. When you are used to the habit of wrestling with your thoughts, you are used to the habit of wrestling with different ideas, and you don't take it as you condemn yourself even while you're wrong. Just take up any idea that is being given to you, any principle, anything that anyone tells you, take it and wrestle with it and say, is this good? Even if it sounds good, is it really true? Now, even if it's not true, what can I do about it? You have to wrestle and find every loophole. Until you see the weakness of something, you cannot truly know the strength of that thing. Some people look at the strength of things and they don't find the weakness. If you walk up to me and I see you as a beautiful person, I want to see what your weaknesses are. If you walk up to me as a crazy person or someone who is negative, I want to see the positive thing about you. Your idea and consciousness is to make sure you don't condemn anything in life, but to work with everything in life. I repeat, your work as human, if you want to grow with knowledge, is to make sure you don't condemn everything in life, but you wrestle with everything. You wrestle and you work with everything in life. And the reality is that you would probably have some bad characters that are habitual, and you might not be able to change it. Yes, a lot of people would say, oh, I'm this kind of person that when I'm going for something, I go and I want to see the end of that thing. And that is a strength, and that can also be a weakness. And I know when it's plain, but I can admit and I say that maybe this weakness, yes, it plays some role. And some people will say, this guy, he doesn't listen. Yeah, people will tell me that I don't listen. But what I always observe at the end of the day is the moment you get it right and you see things and you're working towards it, people are only scared of you failing. When you become successful, they want to attach themselves with you. I've experienced it thousands of times in my life, over and over again. And I understand that sometimes people may not accept some things because it doesn't go with the narration they are trying to propagate. And you are going to always find yourself in all this situation. But consciousness simply means that you are aware of your journey in life. You are aware of where you stand. You are aware of where you are going. You are aware of what has happened in your past. And once you are aware of it, you keep asking yourself, what is the next thing that is important to do to take you towards the vision aspect? And I say, do not see anyone as a messiah. No single person who is knowledgeable in any part is a messiah to anybody. Yes, they are privileged. They most likely have worked their ass off. They maybe deserve everything, but at the end of the day, everything that comes as a flesh is still a flesh. All you have to do is raise your own consciousness and say that, who do I want to be? Do I idolize this person? Why do I idolize this person? Do I want to know what this person knows? What way can I use in knowing what this person knows? And in fact, knowing that the knowledge this person probably knows may not be useful to me, may not be good for me. And once you can admit all these things, that is what I think consciousness is. And consciousness to me tends to be the pedestal for wisdom and knowledge. That means when you are very conscious, you know the information that is even important to your life and that is possible for you to gather. That is what I can use to summarize the thought of the man of thought and how I think. So, you want to learn more? I probably would talk about meditation and the rest of it, how I do things and the rest of it in my next episode. I dedicate this to my audience because I have some people have asked some questions about what is my idea on how I think. I think I learn from everyone. I do not despair anyone. Every single person has something to share with you. The truth is, are you paying attention to the important thing they have, not looking at how they actually present it? So have a blessed day. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, like and share. See you in the next one. Adios, amigos.